Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nadeem Hussain. I am the coach at the Planet N Group of Companies. On behalf of CXO, I'd like to welcome everybody to the 4-day Global Summit. CXO is a knowledge platform that is bringing together thought leaders at the CX level from all over the world to create a platform which will allow us to disseminate information, provide connections, and create opportunities for people who are looking to invest in Pakistan or people who exist in Pakistan and are looking for network. CXO already has 480 members and has major corporations already joined or are joining us. CXO, in addition to summits like this, also has its own publications on a quarterly and monthly basis and is looking also to create white papers for specific issues that we find. So once again, welcome to the 4-day summit, Global Digital Summit on behalf of CXO. I'm going to talk about today, the next 10 minutes, about the opportunity that digitalization puts in front of an economy, especially such as ours, which is a cash economy. You may or may not be aware that we have close to 7.2 trillion rupees in money in circulation. We are essentially a cash economy. The more we digitize, the more we bring this cash into the formal economy, the better off the banks are, the better off the tax authorities are. Banks, because they, as you know, they have a multiplier effect. For every rupee that comes in, they can potentially lend 4 rupees. For FBR, it's documentation of the economy, and obviously digitization, and I'll talk about 4 use cases subsequently, which enable us to further create the economy that we want, the GDP growth that we want. Pakistan already has significant railroads existing that can help us on this digital Pakistan journey. We have a population which has a very high youth cohort. 55% of Pakistan's population are under 25. These people are weaned on telephone technology. They are telephone natives. We have 55 million plus smartphones in Pakistan, and this number is growing every day, including several phones which use the cheap smartphones, which are now becoming within the reach of the ordinary Pakistani. Smartphones, ladies and gentlemen, are not a luxury. They are an essential tool for digitalization of Pakistan. In addition to this, there are very few countries in the world which have a central system where every citizen's identity can be verified. NADRA, that exists in Pakistan, has now 120 million plus citizens on a biometrically verified basis. Now, this is the key, especially for financial transactions, identity. And not only do we have these citizens now biometrically verified, you can, on an online basis, verify their identity, whether biometrically or otherwise. And the central bank has just issued additional regulations which allow an account opening in under a minute, whether for a wallet or a traditional bank account, using this process. Now, this is fairly unique. You can go to developed countries as well, and you won't be able to open a bank account or a wallet under a minute. And the impact of this is such that since 1947, traditional bank accounts used to be about 30, 40 million, if I take out only unique accounts. And wallets, since the advent of this biometrically verified online onboarding process, have been surpassed 55 million people. This is the power of digitalization, the ease of which we change the customer journey, and the ease with which customers can then transact. Now, I'm going to take 3 or 4 use cases to demonstrate to you how powerful digitalization is. If we take the world of fintech and we see what effect fintech is having and can have as part of the digital Pakistan journey. In the landscape I talked about, the rails, we have 3 very forward-looking regulators, the State Bank of Pakistan, the SECP, and the PTA. The State Bank of Pakistan has already created several regulations which are facilitating the digital Pakistan journey. Among them is the EMI license, which allows non-banks to actually have a wallet and interface with customers. And two other major events that the State Bank is working on. One is the digital bank license, which will hopefully be out either this month or next month, which will allow people who want to get this license to have their customers entirely digitally onboarded. I believe there'll be 8 to 10 people or plus who will be applying for this license. That will further facilitate our digital Pakistan journey as far as financial transactions are concerned. And then we have RAST. RAST is a payment system set up by the central bank, which is already in existence. And by first quarter of next year, if not earlier, we will be able to pull transactions from bank accounts as well, which will allow you direct debits and standing instructions, which will further facilitate the digital journey that Pakistan is embarking on. Then we have the SECP. The SECP has set up a sandbox in which several innovative solutions are currently being sandboxed. This includes equity crowdfunding, peer-to-peer crowdfunding. If you look at our ecosystem as far as startups are concerned, we are seeing phenomenal growth. Just in the first 9 months of this year, we've seen close to $300 million investment, which is more than what we got in the last 5 years. My anticipation is that next year, this number will cross $1 billion. People are finally viewing Pakistan for the opportunity it is. And the more we digitize, the more comfortable the external and the internal investors will become. Startups such as dark stores, last mile logistics, fintechs are all experiencing phenomenal ability in terms of raising money. And we even raised, for the first time in Pakistan, a seed money of $50 million. This is very common in other developing economies such as Indonesia, Vietnam, and India, but it is relatively new to Pakistan. On the fintech side, we've already seen the advent of digital lending. Lending on a nano basis, rupees 2,000 or 3,000 phones in under a minute, based on just your smartphone data. The two leaders in the market are telco-led banks, Mobilink Microfinance Bank and Telenor Bank, followed by Tejas Financial Services. Between them, they've lent more than 2.5 million loans, active loans. Compare this with the commercial banking industry, which is still sitting at about 1.2 million active loan customers. So the digital impact is visibly clear that when you can use digital information and onboard customers digitally, start them small with a small loan, and then graduate them, because the moment you, and most of these people who are coming into this market are unbanked, which basically allows these people to develop a credit history. Same thing in savings. Pakistani don't save money in their banking account because until recently it used to be a negative rate of return. But now we are seeing with the increase of KIBOR a positive rate of return. But Pakistani save in committees which are known as BCs, they save in gold, and they save in animals, through animals in the rural areas. Again, there are very innovative solutions, fractionalizing these products, making it available so that you can buy rupees 100 worth of gold at any one time and sell it, virtual gold. And this facilitates, again, simply through a simple app and a phone. Same thing in investments. We are seeing in investments, centralized KYC and a very small amount where the 12 AMCs are coming together on one platform, and a customer can look at the entire portfolio of the 12 companies, do KYC just once. And I hope to see that thing happening for banks also at the right time. So the fintech side is the most developed in Pakistan, but still it's only a fraction of what the opportunity in Pakistan is. In addition to that, if I move on to health tech, again, if you look at health tech, the number of doctors per citizens and the number of doctors in rural areas per citizens is challenging. And even though we have a fair number of medical colleges, the number of doctors that actually end up practicing is small. How do we leverage those doctors who are sitting at home but and are licensed, or those doctors which have downtime? That comes through telehealth services, where through a simple app, either through a feature phone or through a smartphone, you now have access for doctor's diagnosis on the phone rather than taking your precious time out and going to a clinic or a hospital outpatient facility and waiting for hours. If the doctor feels that this is an emergency, then it obviously directly to the hospital. But telehealth is growing by leaps and bounds in Pakistan. Combine telehealth with online pharmacies, home doctor, appointments, as well as testing for any culture or blood test in your house. And now you're talking about significant outreach for rural patients, having the ability to talk to mainstream doctors or specialists in urban cities. And some companies are also adding now foreign doctors for second opinion. So imagine sitting in Pakistan and for a small amount, being able to get a second opinion from the USA. So telehealth, digital insurance, digital pharmacy are all adding to the digital Pakistan journey, and we hope to see major changes in terms of through leveraging our doctors who are not fully employed right now and doctors who are sitting at home. My third use case would be EdTech. When COVID happened, most schools got shut and people scrambled to provide their curriculum or through a remote basis to the students so that people would not stop studying. But now we are seeing much more improvement in that. Some companies are providing tablets to students that will not only provide them the national curriculum, but also assess the shortcomings they have. And not only their shortcomings, it will also assess teachers as to how they're teaching. So these three use cases that I've identified, fintech, health tech, and edtech, can go a long way in the Pakistan digital journey. Now, obviously, there are many other examples relating to export software, relating to dark stores, last mile delivery, logistics, gaming, infotainment. All these are areas where our young population, which is 55%, under 25, can fully benefit from. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to conclude my talk now by just telling you two things. One, Pakistan is ripe for a digital journey. Pakistan has the bulk of the ingredients required to embark on this digital journey, and we have already done so. Pakistan ecosystem and startups provide a huge opportunity right now for both local and international investors. And I'm going to end this talk of mine from a verse from Iqbal, which inspired me and has inspired me for a long time. And the verse goes, "हम खुद तलाशते हैं मनाजिल के संग मील, हम वो नहीं हैं जिनको ज़माना बना गया." Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. And on behalf of CXO, welcome once again to the 4-day Global Digital Summit. Thank you.